iHeart Sports. Speaking of injuries and sports, is that you got your L and your R right?
I got my L and my R right.
There
I had
you
to make
go.
sure because it makes a big difference.
I want to make sure that you understand that right now you don't have your glasses, so I don't.
I know. I can't see a darn thing.
Probably can't see to talk.
No, I can't see a darn thing.
Speaking of seeing, pro tip: if you just want a little bit of bloom, don't waste your money on bloom filters. Just don't clean your ND
just
filters.
Don't clean your ND or your lenses
or your lens. You'll get natural bloom.
You'll have a small ecosystem on the front of your lens.
Yeah, it's hard telling what's on the front of this one.
Probably some small fungi.
Between football, gyms,
sports,
construction sites, warehouses. I mean,
speaking of football, I am heckin' pumped because football is back. We've actually been out on the gridiron a little bit.
Absolutely.
And I'm digging it.
Yeah, I joked.
Sports.
Jokingly posted a reel the other day. Said something to the effect of, "Do you need a cinema camera to shoot football?" The answer's no. The answer's no.
That hurts.
But
I want it to be yes.
Let me tell you, those Blackmagic cameras.
I want it to be yes because I'd shoot everything on those if I could.
Listen, the Blackmagic cameras,
they're magical.
I mean, yeah, for real. I know
we beat that horse to death, but we do
that
enjoy them. We love them.
They're also super quirky.
Yeah.
And you got to know your
super plasticky
build quality. Yeah, questionable. But I mean, truly, for $2,500
or less.
Yeah, I mean, true. I mean, for real. Yeah, if you get an older or a used one, way less.
Or when Blackmagic runs their crazy sale at random times during the year,
you get one for like $1,800. Mm-hmm. But it's like for that price amount,
hard to beat.
It's hard to complain about a little bit of plastic.
Hard to beat. I'll take it.
Absolutely. So we took ours out to, I think the first game we went to this year was North Green, West Green.
Mm-hmm. Here locally in good old Greenville, Tennessee.
Here locally. Got our feet wet, got our eyes back on football.
Hey, and by the way, I didn't get a concussion this year.
That's true.
Not yet. I mean, the year's not over, but
year's not over.
No concussion thus far.
Still time to get that check or that box checked.
I proactively avoided 3 plays that were coming my way.
I actually almost got my legs taken out.
You did almost get your knees taken out, but Garrett is concussion free thus far, which is good because he doesn't have very many left.
I gotta shout out Dallas Ray Malone because I still to this day do not understand why this block was still going on.
Mm-hmm.
So far away from the play. The run literally went left, and I'm on the right side.
Yeah, we're on the right
field.
side of the run, yeah.
Why this guy's, I guess tenacity and,
sports
doing his job, coach, but I'm looking on the long end of my 200 millimeter lens.
He blocked that guy to Africa. I mean, he took him to another continent.
Yeah, run's going the opposite way, and he's still doing his thing. But, yeah, I about got my legs taken out. Dallas pulled me aside, and I was like, I had no clue because I'm literally focused in on at 200 mil on the other side of the field.
I don't know who that kid is, but I would dare say he's not the brains of the team, but he is the bronze. He's the bulldozer.
It had to have looked good in the film room.
Nickname the Dozer.
That's what we need. We need more of that. If y'all could block like
Dozer,
whatever the dude's name is,
Bruiser Cruiser. Insert tough name there.
We anyways,
folks, we're talking football today.
We are specifically what you do need in the event that you want to start sports videography, because that's a really good way to start out.
It's a hot ticket.
It's a really hot ticket.
We
Sports
enjoy
are
it.
in. Fall's here. It's a really good entry into maybe making some dollars with cameras,
PSLs and pigskins,
all those things. So that's what we're going to talk about. What do you need specifically with gear?
Yeah.
Because the skills will come, but what do you need to get started in sports videography? And because it's football season, we'll probably kind of keep it more tailored towards football.
I like that.
But first, let's thank our sponsor.
Sponsor of today's episode, none other than us. Jared and Garrett here at Motion Creative Media and our Blue Collar LUT. Folks, if you are looking for a drag and drop, plug and play solution to your iPhone video, your DSLR camera video, your mirrorless camera video, whatever. If you're looking for a way to spice it up a little bit, look no further than our Blue Collar LUT. There's a free download down in the description below.
Yeah.
I would love to see the results that you get from the Blue Collar LUT.
Mm-hmm.
You can send that to us in an email, message, DM, whatever.
Yeah.
But Jared, thank you for sponsoring. Golly. But Jared, thank you for sponsoring this episode of Faith and Frames.
Hey, I appreciate you too. Sounds like we both did this together.
Sure did. Meat and taters. Get us the meat and taters. We are talking PSLs, pigskins, and what you need to shoot football.
So, yes. What do you need to shoot football? And just sports in general. This first one can just go sports in general.
Okay.
I know a couple episodes ago we were talking about frame rates and shutter speeds and frame rates and what you should shoot. And we said the rule's 24.
Yeah.
That's true. For basically anything that's not sports.
Yeah.
With sports, you need a camera that shoots at least 60 frames per second.
Why is that, Jared?
Well, for one, if you ever plan on slowing anything down, which a lot of sports look really good.
There it is.
I'll get it out at some point.
Sports
look good in slow motion.
Yeah, because we want to see that catch that you made at the back of the end zone where you got one toe down and you're just stretched.
There's a reason why, like at the NFL level, broadcasts are done at 60 frames a second because when they go to do the replay booth to check to see if OBJ was in when he got that one-handed grab.
He's always in. He's always open.
They've got the frames to, he was in whole time. Maintained possession, all those things. But specifically, if you're going to be doing sports videography, broadcast is going to prefer 60 frames per second. And specifically, if you're going to be editing anything, like if you're going to be writing to an SD card or something, and then you're going to be doing something with it in post-production, you're going to want to be able to
slow it down.
Make it look nice and
flowy and smooth.
That shoots at least 60 frames per second.
Yeah. Bonus kudos if you can find a find a camera that shoots 120.
Now, 120 does look really nice.
120 frames a second.
I know some of the Sony offerings offer that at pretty affordable rates. The quick ticket that you'll see, or the thing that you'll notice really quickly when you go to start searching, is price starts to go up the higher the frame rate availability.
The higher the frame rate availability, higher resolution ability as well.
Yeah.
Those start going up. And also, too, another factor into it that I always tell people to consider when they are looking at a camera, specifically for video, and specifically in this case with higher frame rates, is does that camera crop at all as you start increasing those frames? Like we shoot on the Lumix S5 IIs, and at 60 frames in 4K, they start cropping a little bit.
Yeah.
All the way up to 120 frames in 1080, we get no crop.
Right.
So be aware of that. Be aware of those settings for whatever camera you look at.
Which could help you in some settings.
It could help you if you need
don't
extra
have
reach.
the lenses, right?
Yeah.
Like if that crop is going to allow you to get better reach, then that's a good thing. But it can also be a crippling thing. So perhaps in a gymnasium, that crop's not going to help you. Right?
I was going to say, we utilize it on the football field.
That may be a bad thing for you. So know that too. Like
know the crop factors of whatever camera you buy.
And a lot of them, this is especially on the prosumer, the lower end level, the entry level, they are probably going to have some sort of crop factor when you get into those higher frame rates. It's just a processing power thing. It's physically a limitation with the tech and the cameras.
Yeah.
So
because they're trying to keep it accessible to the masses.
Absolutely. So yes, something that shoots at least 60 frames per second.
For that good buttery slow-mo.
Slow that stuff down.
Moving on.
Okay. Sports, you're going to need a fast lens.
And what do you mean by fast?
Yeah,
like it can run a 4.4, 40,
yeah, obviously your lens is not moving and or running, so it's not fast in that sense, but fast in the sense of its aperture, right? It's f-stop. And the reason why that matters is specifically with football. You may start in the daytime.
Yeah.
And here soon, you won't even start in the daytime.
Right.
But it's going to get dark.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are stadium lights, so you're sitting here thinking, well, there's plenty of light. Well, your eye sees it different than the camera
doesn't, yeah.
does. So, yeah, to a viewer, it seems perfectly illuminated. There's no dark spots out
Right.
there. It's great. Cameras don't work just like your eye do. So you're going to need a fast lens, preferably something that is probably at least f2.8.
Yeah.
Maybe faster.
The only thing I would caution with faster, and this is a point that we've not made, but just a little subreddit here, the faster the glass, you may have trouble keeping things in focus.
That's true.
With things moving quickly.
So that's
I think 2.8's a good happy medium.
2.8's probably, that's probably as fast as you're going to get, specifically with.
You don't want to be out there with like a 1.2.
I mean, you're going to let all the light in the world in, but man, good luck.
It's going to be soft.
Good luck keeping your subject.
It's going to be bloomy.
And even if you've got really good autofocus, which your Canons and your Sonys, they've got really good, reliable autofocus.
They're going to sit there and still.
It's going to struggle. So even if your lens shoots at 2.8. Mm-hmm. I would probably say shoot it at 3.2, 3.5. Give you and your camera a little more leeway.
I would say even like 5.6 until you just need the light.
Until you need
the available light.
But what you're going to quickly realize in local gymnasiums, they're very poorly lit. Yeah. And oftentimes nighttime stadiums are poorly lit regarding cameras.
Yeah.
So know that you're probably going to need a pretty fast lens. May really struggle with like a kit lens.
Yeah.
Actually, you're probably going to struggle.
You'll probably struggle with it
because
most of those at the fastest are like a 2.8 to 4.
Yeah, it varies.
Very variable ND. Most of them though are like a 3.5 to 5.6.
You're going to be better off if you get something that is steady throughout.
Throughout the zoom range.
It's like one of the most versatile lenses that I own is a 24 to 105.
Yeah.
It's all in f4.
Yep.
Now, Canon does make a 24 to 105 f2.
2.8.
Or 2.8 in its RF line.
But it's massive.
And it's expensive. But if you were to get a 24 to 105 at f4, you're still going to have more consistent results than something that varies.
That varies as you're zooming.
As you're punching in and out. Probably going to want to get as fast a lens as you can possibly afford.
Well, and I think as far as fast glass goes and glass that is good for sports, I think the go-to for most people is a 70 to 200. F2.8. That's kind of like the staple, especially in football.
Oh, yeah.
Basketball is a little bit different depending on the size of the gym and where you can actually be. Where you can be. But a 70 to 200, especially on the football field, is basically the holy grail.
Yeah. You think about how far away it is to the other sideline, and you're like, oh, well, I can see it. Right, but to get a pleasing composition, that's not
boring.
That's not like cluttered with all 22 teammates, because that's as far as you could get zoomed in. 7200 is great. That's going to help you in soccer.
Yeah,
it's going to be very helpful on even into like softball and baseball, because you physically can't get any closer.
You can't get in the diamond with them.
Now, I mean, basketball, different situation. Yeah. Most of the time you can get around the entire sidelines, and
you can probably rock a 24 to 105. Or
you're never that far away from the action. But yeah, 70 to 200. So most 70 to 200s offer an f4 version or an f2.8 version.
4 is going to be cheaper.
4 is going to be cheaper. F2.8 is obviously going to be more expensive. It's going to be faster. Yeah. Right? We just talked about needing more light. That's going to be more helpful. But
it's going to give you one more stop of light.
If you can't find a 70 to 200 in either of those to make it into your price range, I would try to get a 24 to 105.
Yeah. Or I'll throw this one in there as a curveball. If you are a Sony shooter or a new Sony shooter, Tamron, they make a 35 to 150. That's a 2.8.
Throughout?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, 35 to 150. That's a very usable range.
That's actually a super versatile focal length.
Yes. Yeah. So that one's fairly new. But if you're a Sony shooter, and I don't know if they make it for any other mounts right now, I know that they rolled it out for Sony first.
So Tamron has an E mount that's
35 to 150.
That's actually super versatile. Yeah, that'd be a great lens. If you're a Sony person, I would heavily look into that lens.
And it's actually very affordable.
That's awesome, actually.
Yeah. I wish others would follow, or Tamron would make it for others.
Well, so that's kind of the if you've got one camera
and one lens,
you've got to make choices, or you're that guy on the sideline who's constantly switching. And I don't care to switch. I'm fine with switching, but like
in photo,
you're potentially gonna miss out on action if you don't think about those in advance and really plan your shots out.
Well, especially on the video, and I think on the video side, it's almost dang near impossible, depending on how much rigging you do to your camera. I know for us specifically, like I can't carry a second camera body when I'm shooting
No,
because we rig our cameras out to make them more functional for what we're shooting.
right.
So yeah, if you're rigging your camera out at all, like you're probably going to need one lens to rule them all.
Yeah.
And for football specifically, I would say a 70-200. Or if you're the Sony guy, that Tamron lens that we just mentioned too.
Like I said, I do wish that there were more versatile focal lengths, but I also understand physical limitations optically of like why
like
they
how
don't
many
exist.
elements you can squeeze
Like
in there.
a perfect lens for football truly would be like, I don't know, 35 to
600.
yeah, that'd be like pipe dream. I was going to be somewhat reasonable and stop it at 300.
Yeah.
But I mean, that just doesn't exist.
It's not feasible. The limit is not. Well, the limit does exist there.
So yeah, 70 to 200, you're going to be
Safe.
very
safe bet.
Even on like a crop sensor camera, that's going to be really helpful. in
Yeah, then
football.
you're going to be at like 100 to 300, which is nice.
Very nice, very helpful. So we actually shoot both. When we are on the sidelines, I typically have a 70 to 200 on, and you had a 24 to 70
in the last game. But last season, I shot the whole season on a 50.
Ooh.
But I was in crop mode, so my 50 was effectively like a 75.
That brings up another point. I normally do really enjoy primes. Prime lenses, that is. But I would recommend a zoom lens.
Yeah, you don't want to be like me. Like I shot the whole season on a prime, and I was zooming with my feet, with my legs.
Yeah, which sometimes you physically can't.
Yeah, physically you can't. I did that. My mentality behind that is I'm the guy that's typically like not afraid to go get up in the action, which is why I got a concussion last year. But you know, I'm going up to huddles, I'm going up to timeouts, I'm getting up in the coach's face. Like those are things stylistically that I do to where I didn't really need a zoom. It probably would have been helpful. This year though, I have swapped to a 24 to 70 because sometimes that extra flexibility is handy.
Yeah, being able to physically change your focal length when you physically can't move your body, that's super
Definitely.
helpful.
And it's already come in handy for me on the sidelines in game one.
So yeah, 24 to 70. We collectively between the two of us as an entity
cover from 24 to
200. Yeah, which quite a few focal lengths right there.
Yeah, but we're two guys. If you're just one person, again, 70 to 200, safe bet.
Yeah, you're going to do well with a 70 to 200. So I would suggest getting a good zoom lens with very versatile focal lengths.
Yes.
The second one comes in the way of basically saving your eyes.
Yeah.
And this isn't the second thing, actually. I misspoke. This is like the fourth thing. But
well, it's like the fourth thing, but we kind of combined 2 and 3, so that's okay. That's okay.
Saving your eyes. How do you do that?
With a monitor.
So I need a big computer monitor.
I mean, the bigger the better.
that I'm carrying around on these football games.
The biggest monitor that you can fit on top of your camera and still be comfortable.
Yeah.
Do it to it. And what we mean by monitor is literally an external display for your camera.
Right.
This question actually came up to us last year. We were on the sideline shooting a football game. One of the guys that was also shooting on the sidelines came up and said, "Hey, what's that on top of your camera?" Told him that was my monitor. Let him look at it. He's like, "Dude, that's awesome. You can actually see what's going on."
Right.
Because most of the time we're looking at these tiny little
camera
LCDs.
Yeah.
They're not made for things like, making sure I have critical focus or can even see what I'm composing here.
Yeah, I don't think they're really made. I'll go out on a limb and say they're not really made to consistently look at for hours on end.
No, not when you've only got a 3-inch display or a 2-inch display. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So external monitor is key, and I would say if we gave like a short little ranking list, maybe from lowest cost to highest cost, I would say number 1, go find yourself an Atmos Shinobi.
Yeah.
The original. They have the Mark II out now, but the original Shinobi, which is what we still shoot with to this day.
Yeah.
We've had our Shinobis for like 437 years at this point in time.
I don't know if they're that old, but yeah.
They're pretty old. I know they're at least 5 years old.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've had the Shinobis now for at least 5 years. They are reliable. They work. They're they're a 5-inch display.
Yeah.
5-inch display, very bright, even in sunlight. They offer a lot of different exposure tools for you, like false
Just
colors.
really just video specs and tools, right? That are going to
Tools,
help
focus
you.
peaking,
Yep. Which is
false colors,
critical
things
if
like
you're,
that.
especially if you're manual focusing.
Yes.
You're going to need focus peaking.
Yes.
I
So,
was explaining that on the sideline. That football game actually to Dallas. He goes, "What's this green aura
Yeah.
around these folks?" I was like, "Oh, that tells me what's in focus.
right.
It's my focus peaking.
Yes.
Because otherwise, I'm left to my own eyes to try and guess. That looks sharp,
You're right.
only to find out that it wasn't.
Yeah, get yourself a good, reliable monitor. I would say on the expensive end, if you've got some extra cash, maybe look into the small HDs.
Oh yeah, those are nice.
Those are honeys because a lot of those offer like camera control as well.
Huh.
So a lot of your small HDs, you can actually control your camera from the monitor versus us with the Shinobis, they are strictly a monitor.
There's even cheaper options like your
you got Free World, you got
World.
Port Keys, you got all kinds of different. You got Lilliput, all kinds of different monitor brands out there. As far as brands that I know, like, and trust,
Right.
number one would probably be Atomos. Small HD is obviously a great brand. And I would say a close third place would be like Port Keys.
Yeah.
They're also a good brand.
And basically probably what you would notice with those cheaper ones is probably just inaccuracies with color.
Inaccuracy with colors, and
maybe
I would
luminance.
say the UI
Yeah.
is probably not as intuitive as far as the user experience.
But if that's what you can afford, it's still going to be
Still better than the camera LCD.
way better than
Yes.
looking at the camera LCD
all day,
for
all day,
4 hours at a time.
all day. So get yourself a good monitor and actually see what you're shooting while you're shooting it.
Because here's the really cool thing about those monitors, especially if you have like, a cage or a couple magic arms and stuff. You may have noticed already if you've shot a football game or two, only looking at the LCD, your neck hurts.
Your whole body hurts.
Ergonomically, it's just not meant. You cannot get that camera in a place that's easy to hold
right.
for that long a time and
While
look at the
still
computer.
looking.
So like you can hold camera way down here, raise monitor, place monitor however you need to where you're comfortable, and it's just your body's going to thank you in more ways than one.
Very helpful on the practical side, and just again, you'll like having a monitor.
Listen, fall is by far my favorite time of the year for a plethora of reasons. One of the downfalls is that winter's on the horizon, which means it's getting dark earlier.
Yes.
Ultimately brings us to this final point, or this the last point I would like to mention regarding camera specs. You're probably going to be shooting after the sun goes down.
Yeah. Which means you need a good low light performer.
You need a camera that can perform well. And basically what I mean by perform well is not have a whole lot of digital camera noise.
Yeah. Because you had to raise your
ISO.
Yeah.
So you're going to need a camera that can perform well in low light situations. Now, I know we kind of talked about that on maybe even that same video, that same topic where we talked about settings that photographers get wrong with video.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about ISO and
talked about ISO.
Raising it, yeah.
If you
don't understand ISO, go back to that video.
Probably
a good one to watch.
I can specifically tell you about two camera manufacturers right here. Sony, their cameras, even probably to like the 6500, I believe those also have two base.
I don't know if the 6500 does, but all of their full frame options do, and then the FX30 has two bases.
So, but the 30 is different. I do know that. So, Sony, they are probably the most monstrous in low light.
Yes,
because their first base is 800, and their next base is 12,800,
and it's a clean signal.
Yeah, clean signal. So you're going to be able to shoot in the the most poorly lit stadiums, gyms.
Yeah.
If you have one of their Sony bodies, with our Lumix bodies, it's pretty good range. First base is 640, which is
4,000.
perfect throughout the day. And then you bump up to 4,000 ISO once it starts to get dark. Just know you can raise any camera ISO, regardless of its manufacturer. But the worse that they are in low light, you'll notice it.
They're going to have more noise, more digital
noise. And it's just going to, it's really hard to verbally explain what visually takes place.
Yeah, and, digital noise is not the end of the world. There is software now to clean it up, but it's a pain in the butt and it's labor intensive on your computer, even if you have a great computer.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you can budget a good low light performing camera, I know like again these Lumix cameras have a 640 and 4000. I mean the S5 II is a very budget friendly option for
True.
a lot of people.
Yeah.
Sony has the FX30. They have their A7R4 now, or their
Right.
A7 IV. Canon, they've got like the R10, R7s. They've got the R6, R5. All those low light performers have dual base ISOs. So look into getting a camera that does have dual base. You'll want 2 ISOs to work with.
I'll play devil's advocate because truthfully, the reason why you shoot log is to get the most dynamic range out of a camera. At nighttime, the range physically isn't as much.
Yeah, you may not even need log.
Yeah, if you're shooting with a Canon,
yeah,
and you're shooting in standard picture profile, find out what limit you can push your camera to before it starts to get way too noisy, and just stay below that.
Yeah.
Like maybe you're shooting standard picture profile and you find that, oh gosh, I can shoot really clean all the way up to 4000 ISO. If that's the case, shoot that. If not, you need to compensate in one way or the other, or just maybe deal with a slightly darker image.
Yeah.
So yeah, be mindful that you're probably going to be put into some, you're going to be shooting in some low light scenarios.
I was going to say, and just plan accordingly and try to find the camera that fits your budget the best. I'm not going to tell you to go out and buy a brand new camera because I don't think everybody needs to do that.
No.
But find the one that fits your budget the best and what you're going to be shooting the best.
I'll say this too. If you're someone who like has watched this, listened to this, and you're like, dude, I want to get into sports.
Yeah, but this is racking up.
Well, I would love to help you.
Yeah.
Like truly reach out and say, hey, look, this is what I can spend. And I'd love to help offer some recommendations there.
I was going to say, I built out a camera kit for a man at the beach last week on vacation.
There you go.
Yeah, we ran into each other on the pier. I took his portrait, and then I built him a camera kit.
Listen, honorable mention. I'm going to say get yourself a decent microphone.
Ooh, curveball.
I'm going to say get yourself a decent microphone.
Why do I need a good microphone, Jared? I'm shooting video.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where when you're first starting out, you don't think about like, oh, if I could record decent audio on set.
Yeah, you goof because I'm shooting video.
Well, a lot of people are thinking like Instagram Reels, right? They're thinking, oh, well, there's not going to be any stadium noise.
Right.
It's just going to be whatever Instagram or TikTok audio I put with this.
But what if there was stadium noise?
What if you could have both, right?
Yeah.
So like get yourself a decent shotgun microphone,
ambient audio,
an external microphone, and watch your levels, right? Set it at a safe level because stadiums are loud.
They are.
They're loud. You've got whistles, you've got hollering, you've got the band, you've got you get the fans in the stand. You may even have, in some cases, a cannon that goes off when they score a touchdown. Be mindful of your levels. So get yourself a decent microphone, and there are tons of them that are around $100.
I was going to say
they're good.
The baby Rhodes that we've had again for 437 years, I think they were like $60.
Yeah,
and that's good enough.
And that's good enough. Like it's going to be better than your camera audio first off, and you're going to eventually learn. And it's nice to pump a little bit of that into
bleed that in
Instagram
there.
stuff.
I think that's what separates the men from the boys when it comes to sports coverage specifically, and like heroes that I look up to, like Noah the Boa.
Hey, here's the other thing too. I'll say this: you never know when you're going to be the person who captures something
that somebody needs.
And if you got a soundbite, let's just I don't know. Let's just say you were somehow found your way onto the sidelines of the Colorado game, and you for some reason happened to be the only camera that got Deion Sanders saying fill in the blank.
Coach Prime talking to Travis Hunter.
Whatever.
I'd like to be that microphone.
Well, it'd be nice to know that you got it good with your audio.
Yeah. Ambient audio is good. It adds to the effect. It adds to the environment, we'll say.
So that's not a camera spec. I know we were talking about what camera specs and stuff do I need. That's kind of the whole thing.
Well, I mean, it's still gear that I think certainly has a place on the sidelines. is that good audio. Like I said, it's fun to bleed it in. That way you're not just watching a silent video with music behind it.
I know we just talked about an honorable mention. I guess I have a second honorable mention.
Yeah, go ahead, and then I've got a bonus tip.
Ooh. Consider a monopod.
Mm.
Or some
sort of stabilization.
Yeah. Okay, because here's the thing. If you've got a camera and you've got a 70 to 200 and you maybe have a microphone and you maybe have a monitor, now your camera rig is not as light as it was when you just picked it up.
And now you may need extra batteries because you're trying to power all that crap.
You may need extra batteries.
Mm-hmm.
So in the course of a game, fatigue's going to set in.
Yep, your back's going to hurt.
Probably going to need a monopod. Maybe you don't want to. I mean, you could even do this with a tripod, truly.
Yeah, monopod, tripod, gimbal, easy rig. Anything to stabilize.
Something to aid you in stabilization and also just not tiring out.
Yeah. I mean, and if you don't want to buy any of those things, I guess hit the gym and build those shoulders up because you're going to need
biceps ready.
Get that back ready. I'm gonna hit them with a bonus tip real quick, Jared, before we say goodbye. This is not gear related, but I think one good thing to do, and we all forget this because we're all gearheads. One good thing to do before you start shooting any sports, go look at some of the greats when it comes to sports video, sports photography. Look at how the greats are shooting these things, and I'm not saying copy it, but understand what works, like with football angles or with football photos specifically. I know there's a sports photographer out there that I listen to, and one of his big things whenever he's photographing football, he says, I always watch the eyes. I always capture the eyes. So and literally in his photos, you can see this because as a receiver is about to catch a ball, I mean, he's got the whites of this guy's eyes just perfectly in focus, and you see the reaction of what he's about to do catching that football.
Yeah.
And that makes his photo stands out. And the same thing happens in video. Find angles that work. Find shots that you like that will help you separate yourself from the game, because there's a lot of people that shoot sports.
Yeah.
Certainly a lot of people that shoot sports. Some people do it great. Some people do it not so great. You know, I would like to think that you can find your place somewhere in between.
Yeah.
But study the greats and study people who do it every day. I think I name dropped Noah the Boa about 3 minutes ago. Noah shoots for the University of Tennessee. His football video highlights that he throws on Instagram and his other outlets are phenomenal. Noah is an absolute unit when it comes to UT football.
Well, so that's actually a really good point. And it's do your homework regarding compositions, learning where their placements are. Slowly, if you didn't grow up playing that sport, you're going to want to learn.
You need to learn the game.
You're going to need to learn and develop some anticipation skills too. Like you'll start to know, like, oh, it's third down, 3rd and 8. This may be going to the air. They may be throwing this ball.
Yeah. Do your homework.
So, I mean, you've got to learn to anticipate, and that comes with literally just doing it.
Yeah, just doing it time, and then again, doing your homework, studying.
Yeah. So, that right there, those pieces of gear, doing your homework, studying the folks who you think, oh, that's a beautiful shot. We'll realize where he was, she was when she took that, and remember, like, oh, okay, this is where I need to be. Yeah. That way you're in position and not out of place.
I think those things will set you up for success in your new football video journey.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions about how to get started or what to do with football video, reach out to us.
Hey, you know what? Maybe you're a kid in Greene County.
Greenville, Tennessee.
And you're like, I would love to give this a go.
G Vegas.
Reach out to us.
Yeah.
You know what? We may be able to shoot. Maybe we can let you shoot for a quarter or something,
We'll truck you along. I have no problem doing that.
Yeah, get you a half under your belt, something like that.
And in return, if you are that kid, Jared, there are some things that specific kid and those audience members can do for us that would certainly be helpful. What are those?
Leave us feedback. If this resonated with you, if you're like, you know what? Yeah. Thanks. This is exactly what I needed.
Stars and bars.
Started. Yeah, just let us know.
Feedback, good or bad, we read them all. They do not hurt our feelings. And with that, Jared, here's the hard part.
We will catch you guys on a sideline somewhere.
He didn't make that very hard. And on that note, I've got to say one thing. Delta Dawn, what's that flower you got on? Y'all have a good one.
We'll see y'all.